Welcome to the Dirty Verdict Podcast, where your hosts, trial lawyers Kyle Herbert and Bill Ogden, and mediator Peter Taff, talk with interesting lawyers and break down recent legal news in detail. Here's Kyle, Bill, and Peter.
All right, welcome back to another edition of the Dirty Verdict Podcast. I am Peter Taff.
Full-time mediator Peter Taff.
I thought I'd dispense with that this time. It seemed like y'all were maybe making fun of me last time, so I just thought I'd change it.
Peter, just because we make fun of you doesn't mean we want you to ever change.
All right, well, I'm a full-time mediator.
Peter Taff. I'm Kyle Herbert, full-time litigator. We have two fantastic guests. No Bill. We're hoping that he gets here as soon as possible. Not sure why he's not here, but we will figure that out later.
We've got an empty chair.
Empty chair. Ghost runner on first base for Bill.
Kyle wins all of his trials against the empty chair.
That's undefeated. You have no idea how right that is. We have Chaz Clace, state-renowned, I don't know about world-renowned, but at least state-renowned defense lawyer, civil defense lawyer.
That's correct.
Chaz, where do you work?
I'm a partner at Donato Brown, Poole, and Molman.
And we have Rebecca Millo, not Millo.
Correct.
Rebecca Millo. Rebecca Wood, if you went to law school with me or high school with Rebecca, who is a criminal defense lawyer in Galveston and is currently running for office. Rebecca, what are you running for?
I'm running for judge of the 10th District Court.
And where is that?
That is in Galveston County, countywide seat.
Fantastic. So we are going to do a little bit of a different format this time. We're going to speak to both of our guests at the same time. And Rebecca, we drew straws and you lost. So we're going to start with you. Tell us where you're from.
I am from Houston. I was born and raised here in Houston, graduate of Stratford High School.
Wow, go Spartans.
Go Spartans. And then I went to Southwest Texas for my undergrad.
So, it's called Texas.
Now it's called Texas State.
And as I understand it, their football team is really great this year.
Their football team just beat Baylor, which was a lot of fun. Right?
Shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody here really loves Baylor.
That's what I've heard.
I'm wearing a green coat today for them.
Right.
But Texas State beat them. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So that must mean Texas State really, really good.
Yeah. Congratulations to the Bobcats.
Bobcat.
And I'm saying that because as we speak, Texas is going to play Baylor this weekend. And so if we win, I want to make sure everyone knows that we beat a very good Baylor.
A very good Baylor team. What did you study there at Texas State?
I was a political science major.
Wow. And now you're running for office.
I know. That's weird, right?
I mean, I was a home ec major and Chaz was actually fine arts dance. So it's like we like to see people actually making use of their degree. What did you do after Texas State?
I actually moved home, and I lived at home and went to South Texas College of Law, where we met.
Any break in between, or did you go straight into law school?
No, I went straight to law school.
Wow. Now, I know that I'm not going to ask you what the highlight of law school was, but why did you decide to go to law school?
Because my dad told me I couldn't do anything with a political science degree.
What did you get? What did your dad do?
My dad was a lieutenant with the Houston Police Department.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my mom was a polygraph examiner. So I grew up in this household of law enforcement.
Where you could never lie, or they would
never
strap
lie.
you to the machine.
I have been strapped to the machine.
How'd you do?
I did not do well.
Yeah. Can we get one of those? Peter, can we buy a polygraph?
I think I could approve that.
Awesome.
Her mother's still...
She is retired.
But she can...
But she still has a machine.
Does she really?
I think she does. I think she's a human.
Why is she not here?
What's her name?
Mary.
Let's get Mary on the phone right away. We get her down to the studio. We're going to strap Chaz in. We're going to find out what all my cases are worth. Is Kyle a good lawyer?
So I could tell the truth on that one.
He wouldn't pull any punches.
No.
So
I was going to say, Rebecca, with a lieutenant father and a
polygraph.
Polygrapher?
Yeah. So you had 0 dates in high school, I'm guessing.
So my dad used to do this thing when guys would show up to my house. And of course, this is before cell phones, were a thing. Guys would show up to my house, and my dad would take them into his home office, take their ID, photocopy their ID, go outside and write down their license plate number, make and model of their car, and tell them if she is not home by 11 p.m., every officer in this city is going to be looking for you. And I never had a second date. I didn't have a date to prom. I was always home on time. I was never late. And I think he liked it that way. And now as a parent, I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea.
You can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all turned out okay for you.
It all worked out.
What a wonderful fella.
Yeah.
Looking out for you.
Yeah.
They're all going to look for you, and then that's like Meet the Parents, right? I mean,
It is like Meet the Parents, right? And so my mom was a polygraph examiner, and for a while she had a business. Before she retired, she had this business where she would do all these pre-interviews for the Pappas family. And so before they promoted someone to like a manager or something, they would come in for this pre-interview. And one day, the guy that walked in for this interview was a guy I had gone on a date with in high school. And he immediately just starts sweating. And when my mom gets him back into the little room, he's still sweating. And she says, what is wrong? And he tells her, I took your daughter on a date. And my dad has retired from the PD at the time and was working for my mom. And that guy took my driver's license and photocopied it. And he was still freaked out by my dad. So it worked.
did he get the job at Papa's?
I don't know. That's a good question.
He was later found guilty of felony theft of fajitas. And so he was...
You can understand that. I mean, those are very good fajitas.
It's a completely reasonable crime to commit.
Yeah. And then just talking to her, can she tell? I mean, she has the machine and everything, but has she gotten to really a point where she can look at someone and talk to them and get like, liar, lying?
I do think she has this innate ability to determine when someone is telling the truth and when they aren't. And she, like my brother, she'll talk about my brother and how his ears get red. And she's like, I know he's lying. Look at his ears. And
Okay.
so she's very perceptive. So watch him.
I've changed my mind. I do not want her on the show at all. Not with anybody that I know.
Just until Kyle grows here to where it
I've got an incredible hat collection that would cover that up. So did you go, when you were at law school, did you study with any particular focus on an area that you wanted to practice? Did you know you wanted to do criminal law, or was it just kind of get in there and see what happens?
I knew that I wanted to do criminal law. I had done a internship when I was in undergrad at the Hayes County DA's office. And so I kind of, during that time, just got this desire. It was so much fun. I enjoyed it. And I knew I wanted to go to a DA's office when I finished law school.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Isn't that weird?
I don't know that it is, because there are a lot of people that do it. I interned at the Harris County DA's office, and I wouldn't say that I hated it, because I enjoyed the experience, but I knew it was not for me. What do you think drew you to that area of practice?
That's a good question.
You're supposed to say, because I love justice. Because I love
justice.
No, really. Because there are downsides to it.
There
Like
are
people pee in the elevator. The people you deal with all the time are generally terrible people.
Right.
What made you decide you wanted to do that?
I knew I wanted to be in a courtroom every day, and I think that was kind of the biggest selling point, is I wanted to be in a courtroom every day. And as a prosecutor, you're going to court every day. You're trying cases. You're doing all the things that you think lawyers do, I guess.
Sure.
By
that you mean like drink cocktails and drive fancy cars?
Yeah, no, we don't do any of that, unfortunately. As a prosecutor, you do none of that. But you try the cases.
Sorry, Chaz.
You get to, I think, especially in my later years as a prosecutor, and you get to be the voice for victims who can no longer speak, and that's huge. Your victims who are deceased or small children who have been injured or hurt or something like that, being able to go into a courtroom and get justice for those people, that's huge. Obviously, you don't start there. You start trying DWIs, which nobody cares about, but you care about.
Well, I mean, I care about it.
Right. The people who are accused care.
Well, I'm not accused. I'm just saying, I think it's good that drunk drivers are not free to roam the streets with their repercussions.
They shouldn't be.
Yeah. So, do you have any particular, other than meeting me, any great memories of law school?
Do you?
No, I actually kind of hated most of law school.
Does anyone have great memories of law school?
I have known some people that said, it was really stimulating. I really loved it. I found it to be
exhausting,
mostly stressful, and maybe became friends with a handful of people, but I found a lot of the people in my class to be like kind of strange. So no, I wasn't crazy about law school.
I was not crazy about law school.
Great. Well, that's probably why we were friends at law school.
Yeah, it was not fun, I don't think.
So what was your first job coming out?
The DA's office
In
in Galveston.
Galveston County?
Yeah.
Who was the DA at the time?
At the time, the DA was Kurt Sistrunk. And so I was hired right after law school. I started in January of 2004, and I stayed there for 18 years.
Wow.
Did you have a connection to Galveston County?
So my connection to Galveston, weirdly enough, is my mother, the polygraph examiner, testified in a capital murder trial for Mike Garino. And my grandmother died while I was waiting on my bar results, and Mike and my mom had become friends, and he was at my grandmother's funeral. And he's like, so what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm trying to get interviews. I'm trying to get a job. And he said, give me your resume and I'll take it to Galveston. And he did. And they called and I interviewed. And then they were the first to offer me a job. And that's how I ended up down there.
Did you live on the island?
I did.
Wow.
When I first started at the DA's office, I moved to the island and I lived on the island for a little over a year, which is fun. It's a lot of fun. But there is a huge downside if you are a prosecutor who lives on Galveston Island, because everywhere you go is someone you are currently prosecuting.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you going to do with my case?
Again,
people serving you food are accused of crimes and asking you what's going to happen.
So you started out, you couldn't get a date because your dad was interfering. And
Sure.
then you go down to Galveston and all the like really good looking bikers are there. You're accusing them of crimes. And so that's kind of a non-starter.
I wouldn't say good-looking bikers, but
But bikers nonetheless.
but no, just everywhere you turned was someone who had a case pending in your court.
You'd seen them.
Right.
And did they assign you to a particular court
Yes.
in Galveston?
Yes. So, and I think that's probably standard for any DA's office is you go in, you start a misdemeanor, you get assigned to a court, and then you work your way up the chain.
We've got our special
guest Bill is back.
We're going to share a mic, kind of like the spaghetti noodle and Lady of the Tramp.
Can you guys, before we quit, can you guys do Islands in the Stream?
We're not kissing again.
Come on, Bill.
Yeah, if I could be the Kenny Rogers,
Yeah.
you're the Dolly Parton, you're dad.
Sorry to interrupt, Rebecca. Please continue.
The question was on assignment to a particular court in Galveston.
Yeah, I think all baby prosecutors get assigned to a court, and you stay there until you move. Someone leaves, you get moved up, you go to felony. I think I stayed in a misdemeanor court for a little over a year and then moved to a felony court and then spent the rest of my time prosecuting felonies.
When you say misdemeanor court, what?
County court.
Okay.
Yes.
That's like minor drug offenses, DWIs.
Kyle is very aware of what they cover.
Yes.
Settle down, Bill.
I'm settled.
You know how long it's been since we shared a cell together? Weeks.
Not in Galveston, though.
No, that was Travis. Who knows? Doesn't matter.
Okay, so then you proceed to district court, which is the felony prosecution.
Correct. Yes.
And then which courts were you in? All of them at various?
I have had cases in every court. I have been the assigned prosecutor in every court except one district court, but I've handled cases in that court. So Galveston has 5 district courts. We have 3 prosecutors in each court. You have a chief, a 2, and a 3. We also have some specialty divisions. We have like crimes against children, violence against women, vehicular crimes. We at one point had a major fraud division. So I have been the chief of all but one of our district courts. And then at one point I was our vehicular crimes chief, and that's a rotating. So you're in every court. So even that court that I wasn't the chief in, I still had cases in that court.
Who's least favorite judge in that county?
Before you get onto that, could you?
We all know it's now Jeff Jones. Shout out to Jeff, good friend.
I talked to Jeff this morning and he said to tell you hello. So
He has to affiliate himself with me. He's not proud.
But I want to talk about your private practice that you went into after that. Before we get there, there have been some crazy nationally covered crime stories out of Galveston. Some of HBO specials, all kinds of incredible stuff. And I'll tell you, I think weird stuff just kind of happens on an island sometimes.
Galveston's the end of the earth.
Yeah. It goes from there to Cuba and then points unknown.
Right.
Are there any cases that you thought were particularly weird or interesting or work you're particularly proud of while you were there at the DA's office?
I've had some very interesting cases. I have had, I tried this murder where the murder actually happened in Houston, but there's 2 defendants. They killed a guy in the Red Carpet Inn in Houston, and one of the guys was driving the body to Galveston. He was going to go dump the body in the water. And so he exits 45 right at Bayou Vista and just turns right and goes all the way down to the end of the street, and he's going to dump this body in the water. But he's so high that he cannot get the body out of the car. And so what he does is he takes off all his clothes and he's rolling around in the grass. And this lady calls 911, and she tells 911 there's a naked guy in the grass, and
Wrestling a corpse?
no, he's by himself, just naked in the grass. And Bayou Vista PD, which I don't know if you know anything about Bayou Vista, but it's very, very tiny. And this officer shows up and finds a body in the back of the car, and they take this guy off and they charge him with murder.
I have so many questions. One, it makes me feel a lot better about my weekend. Why did they murder the guy? And then how high do you have to get that you decide to take your clothes off to dispose of a corpse? Chaz, I know you know the answer. Yeah. Don't answer, Chaz.
You get there at a 6 out of 10.
Fill in some detail for us.
Well, so the deceased was dating the other defendant's daughter, and this guy did not like him. So they lured him to a hotel room where they killed him. They taped him to a chair. In closing arguments, my co-counsel at the time was like, sit in the chair. And I said, I don't want to sit in the chair. You have to sit in the chair. And I said, I don't want to sit in the chair. Sit in the chair. So I sat in the chair.
Were they actually murdered the guy?
Because it was actually collected. The sheriff's office did a really good job on ID work because they took the chair. And our deceased had tape. You could see where tape had been stuck to his wrists and his ankles.
Are those called ligature marks?
This was not ligature. This was just tape residue.
I love. You know how long I've been waiting.
Somebody's watched a lot of Law and Order
to say ligature marks. Anyways,
Bump on. Sure was today. Tough.
So, all right. So there's tape marks. How did that? So
it's residue, and then it was on the chair as well.
So what was the method of dispatching this poor fella?
They shot him up with all sorts of heroin and methamphetamine.
Oh goodness, like his heart exploded?
So he overdosed, taped to a chair.
It doesn't sound like they only injected him with it.
No.
Right.
That is
detail.
Yes.
To test it out.
Yes.
So let me ask, just out of professional courtesy, what do you have to do to sink a body in Galveston Bay? Like, do you use cinder blocks? Do you use
Heavier suitcases.
Bungee cords? What do you need?
It seems as if none of the bodies sink
Really?
because that's how we find them. They float up.
But what about the ones you don't find?
Then I can't tell you what they did. I can tell you what doesn't work.
That was my next question. Tell me what doesn't work.
Tell you what doesn't work.
What doesn't work?
Suitcases, trash bags, shower curtains.
So you wrap somebody up, they're just going to float to the top.
Usually.
Even if they're cut up into lots of pieces.
Yo, Pete, come on. It's a family show. Sorry.
These are facts.
Those are facts. Yes. That was before my time.
Somebody once told me they were going to chop me up and feed me to the penguins at Moody Garden. Will those penguins devour a human body?
They're not like hogs.
All right. Fair enough. That is a crazy
Still
case.
like bird.
Did the guy get convicted?
He did. Both of them.
Oh. And still in jail?
Life sentence.
When you get that, do you fist pump or is there high fives involved? How do you celebrate?
Or do you just go, this was terrible, I'll walk away?
Yeah, it is terrible because, a win is a win, right? You're excited.
I mean, you sat in the chair, so you were in
Right.
it.
Yeah. You're always happy about a win. But at the end of the day, you still have this family who lost their loved one. And that's hard.
I just, from a prosecutor standpoint, I have zero experience. But I feel like I would be happy that one, I won.
Right.
Two, I just did the right thing in an awesome way, and they're never coming back.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
It's kind of a weird celebration. I get it.
It is a weird celebration, but you still are very
Where's the red carpet in?
on 45.
Jesus. He's going to come in
Gonna stay away from you.
I'm not going to go to the red carpet.
Do not go.
and not take a picture.
Yeah.
And-
Don't go.
Bill. That's wild. Any other cases that you think warrant?
Want to talk about ligature, Mark?
Yes, actually, I would. Tell the fans of the Dirty Verdict, what is a ligature mark?
Well, I do have. I tried a capital. The last case I tried as a prosecutor, this was bad, but a pregnant woman killed by her son,
Holy cow.
who was 14, certified as an adult, and then it took us 5 years from the date of offense to trial because we certified him as an adult. We had all these
What is that?
problems.
Tell me what that means.
We tried him as an adult instead of as a juvenile.
So what? How do you get to
So
do
a
that?
different range of punishment. There's a whole process, like it's almost like a mini trial, but it's different because hearsay is allowed.
You got to prove that he's like competent like an adult or what?
Yeah. Yes.
Oof.
What do you, what kind of court? How do you prove that if they don't have to testify and they can just plead?
Well, but a certification hearing is completely different. And you have doctors and you have all sorts of different.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But, I tried this case right before COVID hit. So like the week before everything shut down, we tried this case. And he stabbed his pregnant mother 55 times. The stab wounds are not what killed her. What killed her was he wrapped the cord to an electric tea kettle around her neck and then
Was this
ligature marks.
okay? So
Kyle,
the ligature mark is what is left when you choke someone.
Yeah.
Was this guy just like incredibly mentally ill or what?
No, he was, and we had some issues at trial. He gave a statement to the police that we could not use because as a juvenile, you're required to be magistrated before you speak to the police, as opposed to like an adult who's just read their rights. They have to be magistrated by a judge, right? And the magistration has to be it has to be recorded, audio and video. And it was not video recorded, so therefore we could not use it.
So what, he admitted that he did it?
Mm-hmm. But we couldn't use it.
But why did he do it?
I think he never really said why, but he was mad that mom was pregnant. He didn't want another child. He was mad that mom was kind of trying to lay down these rules. He didn't want to follow the rules. And so he stabbed her.
wait, so you said capital. Did you seek death?
No,
I didn't think so.
no, not,
Say
no,
monster.
no.
What do you have to prove to show that?
Yeah.
What do you have to show to show that someone under 18 has the mental capacity to be tried as an adult?
Well, in Texas, it's 17. You're an adult at 17.
So what do you have to
I did not handle the certification. I didn't do that. Those are handled in the county courts, and so I didn't handle that. I just handled.
But do you know generally what you got to show?
No.
Okay.
So don't put that on there.
No, that's fine. Well, the reason I wanted to ask is you just met Bill. Like, what are the chances we could try Bill as an adult?
You're going to try him as an adult because he is an adult.
Are you?
You can try.
But mentally,
Get it? See what in there?
Yeah.
that's fascinating stuff, man. I am so glad that you did that job, and I'm so glad it was not my job. Like, I just, that's just dark stuff, man.
Or, I mean, we deal with some dark stuff, but we just argue over money. But every time we have somebody criminally oriented in this room, I'm like, man, I chose the wrong area. Because
Nice.
mine's like, yeah, there was an insurance carrier and this adjuster, and then you're like, chopping people up at a red roof.
Ligature marks and tape residue.
It's so different, right?
Did you put like plastic down when you sat in the chair, or
No,
did you just?
Did you burn that dress?
It's not that.
No, it's not this dress. No. But I should probably No, it went to the dry.
Have it dry cleaned.
Yeah.
Have it dry.
Weird fact, my hairdresser actually is in this group, and they collect like memorabilia from stuff like that. And there's a big black market or gray market for that. So if you have the dress and you want to sell it, I got somebody.
And let me check.
I'm just impressed he is a hairdresser. Yeah. That's what I thought.
This is not a barber cut, Pete. All right, this is that. I look like Beethoven.
Peter, that's a custom job.
Great clips. I don't think they come out themselves. Or choreography.
It is a supercuts.
Great clips, and it's good.
So, Rebecca, why did you decide to leave the DA's office and start your own practice?
I got to this point in the DA's office where I had kind of been in all these different positions, and there was nowhere else to go, right? I'd gone all the way up to chief of a court. I'd been chief of the specialty divisions. At the time that I left the DA's office, I was chief of grand jury. And I got to this point where else, I need something new. And I decided to open my own law firm.
So what kind of cases do you handle now in private practice?
All the same, criminal, just on the other side.
It's got to be psychologically a pretty big switch.
It's like retraining your brain, because for 18 years, I would look at something and try to figure out how to fix the mistake, as opposed to now I'm like, look, you have this problem. You're not going to overcome it. So it is. You have to retrain your brain. It's weird.
What are your favorite kind of cases to handle now? And I ask that because I have friends that do criminal work, and like some of them are like, I just do DWIs. I just do tons of DWIs. Or guys that go like, I just do massive drug trafficking cases. Is there something you specifically like or focus on?
I think your like search warrant cases where they're executing search warrants for drugs are cut and dry. Your search warrant is good or it's bad. And then after that, it's easy.
Okay.
So those I like, because you either have a good search warrant or you have a bad search warrant.
Is there a lot of drug trafficking in Galveston County?
I don't know that I would call it trafficking, but there's a lot of drugs, and I'm sure that's everywhere.
Spoken like a true defense lawyer now.
I don't know if I'd call it trafficking. These are folks just ready to go on a cruise.
So I will ask.
That happens a lot.
I bet it does.
Yeah.
I've seen those.
No, they let you go on the cruise and then they arrest you.
Sorry, say again.
They let you go on the cruise and then they arrest you when you get back.
What if you just eat all the drugs while you're on the boat? Settle down, Chaz. We're going on the cruise no matter what. We bought the tickets.
Hypothetically.
You just ingest them.
They, and then I guess they run everybody on the cruise to see if they have warrants. And again, they let you go on the cruise. And then when you get off, it's
That's
like,
entrapment.
surprise, you're going to the county jail.
That's such bullshit. One more reason not to get on that cruise, Chaz.
I agree.
Don't take your drugs.
I will ask, being on the criminal side so long and then switching to, on the prosecutor side and then switching to defense, do you find yourself pushing the limit like you saw some of the defense attorneys you went up against as a prosecutor, or do you kind of stay more in the bounds of what you thought as a prosecutor was where defense attorney should be?
I try not to. I hope that I'm not. I remember, as a prosecutor being like, oh my God. And I hope I'm not that person. I'm sure that I have irritated some people.
I was just curious.
For sure.
Not because you see attorneys on the other side pushing the limit, bothering you.
Right.
And then you find yourself on that side and you're like, was it zealously advocating for my client?
Right.
Or is that an area I can't go into and I know better?
I really try not to be that lawyer that annoys people, but I know that I have.
Taking notes?
Bill, certain people really appreciate my personality and other people don't. And that's just what I got to live
And
with.
they are called children.
So you are now running for judge. And it's my understanding Galveston County, different than the bigger counties, is you're like the criminal judge will be the civil judge, will be the family judge. Tell us what bench you're running for and why you decided to run.
So I'm running for 10th District Court. The judge in that court, Judge Neves, is retiring. And I decided to run because I feel like we need attorneys who know the law to step up and be judges. And that's why.
I will say I love almost every judge in Galveston County. Yeah, by pound for pound, the most scholarly judges I run across, at least in the greater, Houston and surrounding county area. I'm not even kidding. And I'm buddies with a couple of them to arm's length. But when you look at some of the other places, you can run into judges that don't do the work or don't have experience in a lot of areas. And Galveston seems like y'all keep putting up candidates that are well-rounded in all of the different aspects. But call the civil docket before the criminal docket.
Yeah, always call it the civil. The thing is, if you line the female criminal defendants up in the hallway, Bill can knock out the docket and then
There you go.
chat outside.
I'm a good guy. I have a great relationship with my mother. She's a terrifying, terrifying woman of all time. I have to say that because Kyle besmirches my name.
So let me ask you a question. I always am concerned when I'm going to one of the smaller counties in Texas because we have, how many counties do we have, Chaz?
270.
Yeah.
254. Yeah.
So you will end up in a county arguing some complicated contract principle, and you've got a judge who's there doing like apartment evictions and family law.
Adoptions.
And like, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. And like, I suppose these judges are the voice of their county with regard to what justice ought to be, regardless of the issue. Let's say you get this job, like, how do you tackle that? Like,
When I get this job.
exactly right, Rebecca, thank you. When you get this job, like, how do you tackle that? Like, criminal, civil, family, it just seems like a lot.
Yes. So, I won't do family. We have a dedicated family district court and an associate judge. So I won't do family, thank goodness. So it'll be criminal and civil. And, criminal, that's kind of a no-brainer for me. It's the civil.
You've picked something up about the criminal over the last 20 years.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a tiny bit.
But the civil stuff.
The civil stuff, yes, I have to learn, which thankfully, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and offer assistance,
Who? Because I'm based on the list, I may throw my hat in, 24/7 cell phone number, call me for the easy role on the civil side, just go with the plaintiffs.
Yeah.
Whatever they want, just go with that. Don't split the baby, or if you do split the baby, go 60% there.
Summary judgment's bad.
Yeah, summary judgment is bad.
Jury trial's good.
The Constitution gives us a ding.
Chaz's silence will be taken as acquiescence.
I might have something to say about it. It's all good.
You'll keep your time, Chaz.
no answer is an answer.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know they do like judges school.
Yes.
But I mean, it can be a lot to tackle.
How long is judges school?
I don't know.
I've heard about it, but I don't know anything what they actually do.
I can let you know in like 2025.
I like it.
I thought it was a couple weeks in January. They go because in January and the election years are often dead weeks in Harris County. So.
Yeah.
I knew it was right when they get sworn in on that after the first, but I'm very interested to know what all goes on there and how they cram in anywhere from a PI case to a products case to this giant breach of contract, or everything in between.
They won't have to do that. It's those courts. It's up the hook.
Yeah,
That's right.
You're off the hook on the commercial cases. But I guess the products liability when we do.
So my buddy from law school does it for federal judges. They do like a federal judges school when they get appointed. And I know it's a rigorous couple weeks, but I don't know if the state courts are the same.
Based on some of the latest appointments, I can see it being very rigorous.
John Kennedy would agree. Sir.
Yeah. So do you guys want to impart any words of judicial wisdom to your next judge of the 10th JDC?
So the primary will be in March,
Correct.
and then
Yes.
the general in
November.
of 24.
Correct.
Okay, and so it sits now. Are there any other declared candidates?
There are no other declared candidates.
And we're going to keep it that way.
That's right.
Primaries are bad.
We don't want that.
We don't need to be slinging mud amongst the party. We got one.
Okay, so there you go. And so, Kyle, any events coming up for you?
I do have an event next Wednesday at Daryl Apfel's office in Galveston, the old peanut butter warehouse. 5:30.
Yeah.
When you were with Tony, right?
I've taken depots as a defense lawyer in that office.
Yes.
I spent many a night in that office working, prepping for.
So you should come back.
I've never been to that office, but Blake Appel was a student of mine when I was still teaching. So
Blake's there. Yes.
The day of the September.
27th, Wednesday, the 27th at 5:30.
Excellent. Okay, and that is 104 21st Street, if I remember.
I think that's correct.
We can put it on the website.
Is it okay if we invite friends and they bring checks? Is that okay?
That is a beautiful idea.
I just want to make sure you're okay with that when
Democracy not only needs, it encourages your money.
This is true.
Kyle said he'd pay for me to go, so it's all good.
Chaz is my date.
Kyle was just saying when we were talking earlier, he's like, I want to be a platinum donator and host an event. And is there any way where you could spend a lot of money to host?
He actually, he has made an A donation.
I am on the host committee,
He
Bill.
is on the host committee, but we can always add others to the host committee. Yeah, we can always add others to the host committee.
Absolutely.
I saw the copy of maybe Kyle had sent around that. I felt like you had a very actually bipartisan supporters being I'm not talking party, true.
Right.
I've been about plaintiff defense lawyers, people that are traditionally not necessarily aligned with each other.
Correct. On me. That's wild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they don't even know you.
I know, it's weird.
If you do find yourself, when you do find yourself on the bench and you need to order these cases to mediation, I know this fantastic mediator, Danielle Como.
That's only the one that I would have bruised.
Bill commits crime in a variety of surrounding counties.
100%. I only commit crime outside of Harris County. It's my motto. It's my credo.
What's your favorite county to commit crime?
Polk.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm like,
Very fast.
yeah, it's between Polk and Liberty, but Polk usually. It's just, it's fun doing bad stuff in Polk. You get in there and you just, the air, something about it.
Have you ever been to Brewster County?
Have I ever been to Brewster County? Why do you think they call it Brewster County? I don't even know where Brewster County is.
There's like 8 people in that county.
Yeah.
Brewster is like the least.
No, you can't because there's only 8, and I'm not friends with any of them, and my jurors are not going to know me.
Brewster is the least populated county, I think, in the entire United States, and so it's Big Bend. So like it's basically Vietnam. You can commit whatever crime.
This feels like the plot of Yellowstone.
Kind
of. I'm pretty sure.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay. And so then here's something we were talking about off air. Was it 4 trials during a 2-week docket period that you had to try?
Ugh.
Because my friend, one of our mutual friends, had to leave you for a second.
It was 3, and the judge was calling in another panel, and I could not in a 2-week period.
Who was the judge? Dox him.
And it was not. Yeah.
All right, Jared.
Yeah. So this is the flip side, because young lawyers, of course, are like, I want to go to court. I want to try cases.
When you get in there,
And then
it's exhausting.
Yeah, I tell them, like, go try a case with Busby and tell me how much fun it was, and ask Eric, the AV guy, how much fun it is, and everyone who just tried this.
Everyone in the state knows how much fun Eric had.
Yeah.
Eric, put it up.
So you want to have,
Eric, I'm pulling this bus over.
yeah,
You're all getting real tension, Eric.
these people want to have trials, but you do 3 trials in a 2-week period. That's exhausting.
Dude, 1 trial in a 2-week period is exhausting.
even as a misdemeanor prosecutor, like I remember trying 2 DWIs back to back, like in the same week, starting a trial Monday, finishing it Tuesday, starting another one Wednesday, finishing that one Thursday. And it's exhausting. And now that I think, how did I do that? I had a capital case that I tried, and it ended in a hung jury because the jury could not reach a verdict. And we had to file a motion, get all the evidence back. And I remember having it all spread out like in a conference room on the table and looking at all this evidence and being like, I admitted all of that. Like, how did I do all of this? And then, to get ready for the retrial. And it was kind of mind-boggling to me that, like, I did all that, and here I was going to do it again. But trial is exhausting.
Not if you're the judge.
Not.
Going to be awesome when you're the two.
It's so awesome. You'd be like, let's do another. You want to do 5?
You want to go again?
Yeah, I'm bored.
Mr. Herbert, Mr. Ogden, you're up next.
Grand retrial. Bring in the
After
panel.
that,
Yeah.
and the
I'm going to automatically grant a retrial. Let's bring another panel. Let's do this again. That's fun.
When you say capital and you delineate between capital, what does that mean?
So I've tried a couple of capital murder as opposed to just murder, but capital being, in that case, it was
Child.
killing someone and in the course of committing another felony, which was robbery. But that wasn't a death penalty.
Are you talking about the pregnant mom one? No. That was capital, I assume, because it was
2 people.
just 2 people. That's all you need. It didn't matter that one was a baby.
Right. The baby was considered a person, so that is more than 2 people.
So, this is a real question for everybody. Now that we have the abortion statute, how did they rule on the HOV lane for pregnant women?
I don't know. I was just thinking about that.
And 2,
Tired of these pregnant women getting free rides for their fetuses.
if they're on that free ride and they get T-boned by a commercial vehicle, does the baby have
there?
Still?
Absolutely not.
But it seems like there's a constitutional right to being alive.
I think Nathan Heck might have a disagreement with you.
If the new civil statute says that you can
could
sue
do a criminal prosecution
No.
or a civil lawsuit.
against anybody aiding somebody in an abortion on behalf of the child, how can you bring in a lawsuit on behalf of the child if it's not a person?
Asking me how to explain the vicissitudes of democracy and hypocrisy.
When a woman and a man love each other.
I don't like it when moms and dads fight, Bill. I'm just saying.
That's a real question. I don't know the answer.
We don't know the answer to that. We just know that Rebecca, when serving as will follow the law
Not the Vietnamese.
equally and will call balls and strikes in absolutely fair manner.
I don't want fair. I want my way, my balls and strikes.
I had a question though. When you're trying these 3 cases in a 2-week period, do you have help like just getting witnesses there? Like people calling them like, hey, Joe, we need you here, or Officer Jones. Like,
So
are you having to do that too?
we do a lot of it. We have investigators that work in the DA's office. They help.
Those are all like former cops, right? Mostly.
Mostly, yes. And so a lot of times before we get to that point, as a prosecutor, I've met with all those people. Like I have had a sit-down meeting and said, hey, here's your subpoena. You need to show up. This is the day I'm intending for you to be there. And I usually would then give my investigator like a list, like help me make sure these people are here. But a lot of it falls on us so there's a whole lot that goes on behind the scenes. And then, we always have a second chair. And so our second chair, is able to help wrangle people and make sure people show up when they're supposed to. But
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't show, what happens?
well, it just depends.
Sheriff picks them up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone doesn't show when they're supposed to, I'm usually blowing them up, or my investigator can go pick them up. You can get a writ and have them picked up by, the sheriff's office. So there's and whether or not you get a recess is dependent upon
Judge.
So Bill doesn't really trust the police in any county.
I don't trust anyone.
What would you say to him?
Why do you not trust the police?
I think there was some early relationships as an adolescent that broke my heart. Heather Fuller, if you're out there, you shattered me when I was 15. No, she's just a girl I dated in high school. It was the only woman that ever really broke my heart. And I think that trauma is where I get my trust issues from with the police.
So Tommy Fibbage came on here and talked to us about how the cops tried to frame him for arson.
Practically the same situation as mine.
Are the police people that we can trust?
So I feel
Because you've been on both sides of this.
I have been on both sides of this, right? And I think we're talking.
By the way, when I go to jury duty for like a criminal, and they're like, "Why should you not be on this jury?" and I'm like, "Because I don't trust cops."
First of all, they're peace officers, Kyle.
Off of jury duty for sure.
But I don't necessarily want to be off jury duty. I just genuinely believe that cops are kind of lying about a lot of stuff. But anyways, go ahead.
So yes, I have been on both sides of this.
Yeah.
And I think that as with any profession, you're going to have officers that, maybe you don't trust.
You say that with any profession, but I look at a profession like airline pilots. Not very many bad apples there.
Right.
Just saying.
But there's a lot more cops than there are airline pilots.
Right.
You would think. But I don't know if you've looked at the lines on the map every day. Thousands. Hundreds of thousands.
But also what police officer, what law enforcement officer is going to want to risk that's their career?
Oh, I'll give you an example. For instance, right now I represent 2 Harris County Constable deputies against Alan Rosen and his police department for throwing undercover bachelor parties and pulling these young women out of training with 0 undercover work, throwing fake bachelor parties, and then ensuing getting them drunk and being very inappropriate during these operations. That's just one example. It was a human trafficking sting that they set up, and it's a public record. I can talk about it. And so, yeah, they would get these young, untrained deputies at the Precinct 1's office to, dress in a certain. I think they all told them something along the lines of like, go to Cindy's, get something, and bring it back, show it off, and then when we go in there, get drunk and do your thing. And and then all the top brass were the Johns in it, which is obviously very inappropriate as well. But yeah, there's a pretty good Judge Hoyt helped us out on some motions to dismiss, and so we're moving forward on that one.
Where he ruled appropriately.
I think he found the law in his heart, and he ruled from the heart.
So, question along these lines: you're a prosecutor for what?
18 years.
And then you've been criminal defense for
Little over a year.
So how do you think, even though it's been 18 years versus 1 year, how do you think the year or so you've been on the other side will help you be a better judge in the next couple of years?
I think it's been very eye-opening. Just learning the other side of things, learning what defense attorneys go through. Just their daily, they have to go to the jail and they have to meet with their clients, and the negotiation aspect of it with a prosecutor, and then conveying that offer to their client and helping them understand, and how sometimes maybe they just need a little more time for various different reasons, has been very eye-opening to me, because obviously I never saw that aspect of the practice of law as a prosecutor. So I think that has been beneficial for me moving forward, for sure.
Do you get treated differently by the judges being on the different side?
No.
Really? Okay, good.
haven't.
Good. You shouldn't, but I was just curious. I could see it.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't.
But you're in that office for that long. I'm sure most of the prosecutors give you.
You've got to be like
level
the
of depth.
best criminal hire in Galveston. Right?
I know who I'm hiring if she's not on and if I get pinched in the next year, I know who I'm hiring.
I'm not allowed to actually go to.
You know all the
county.
DAs, right?
Right.
Except Mardi Gras and
Right. Most of them
I do have a waiver
with
for
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
was it Kappa weekend?
Yeah, I agree with you, Bill. I'm not going to get in trouble in Galveston, but if I did, or actually, if one of my children does.
I don't have to worry about that for another, 9 or 10 years.
Okay, well, fellas, questions?
I can keep going on instances of, I got a couple of in custody death cases, not against Galveston, don't worry. Or there's the whole Goins debacle here in Harris County. I mean, that's kind of a sticky one. So there's a couple of issues where there's those bad apples did really bad things. But for the most part, one of my closest friends, Phil Warner, Pasadena PD, he always takes my son for ride-alongs.
Restaurants in Galveston for anyone going to Galveston Island.
There we go.
The bar goes.
My favorite is number 13.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is right as you're coming in before
Yes.
you turn off. It's on the right. There's a marina there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
It
a
is
very good restaurant.
my favorite.
What kind of food is it? Seafood?
It's steak and seafood.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
There's a little marina there.
Do you live on the island?
No, I live in Lake City.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where were you saying? What place were you saying?
Vargo.
Argos.
Vargo. The steakhouse. Vargas.
Is it Vargas or Vargos? Okay. Kyle was trying to make it a little more Italian.
Oh, sorry. It's very good.
Where is that?
It's very good. It's on Post Office.
It's next to Rudy and Paco's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Rebecca, your day to day now your day to day as a prosecutor, and I'm looking for younger lawyers who want to do this and want to understand how it works. As a prosecutor, what was your average day if you weren't in trial?
Average day was court starts at 8:30. You're in court until you finish your docket, maybe about an hour or so.
And what does that mean?
And-
You're on your docket.
So you go to court and you are trying to negotiate, plea bargain, work out whatever cases you have.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking to defense attorneys. They're talking to their client. They're coming back. You're trying to come to an agreement, right?
On a plea?
On a plea, like, hey, plea to this burglary. I'll give you 2 years TDC.
Mm-hmm.
Take it, leave it, whatever. there's negotiations. And after that, you're in your office preparing for whatever trial you have coming up.
Okay. And would it matter? Because we've talked to Chaz, and he wouldn't give this up, but we know that they will cut better deals with lawyers that they think will, as Kyle alluded to, that will go try the case.
Ring them up. That's what we call it.
Would that go from the prosecutor's standpoint? Like, does the defense lawyer, and if they're good or they're thorough, does that affect what kind of deal they would be?
I don't, I always really tried to not let who the defense attorney was influence my negotiations, because there are attorneys that you don't like, and I don't
It's not
want,
fair to them.
right.
What about the attorneys you do like?
Right.
Like they're
But-
friends.
Yeah, and it goes the other way, right? And so you don't want your personal beliefs or relationships to affect how you're negotiating that case.
Got it.
So I've
Not fair.
represented one or two folks that were in jail, and you're now representing people that are in jail. Have you gotten any proposals or suggestions of relationships from inmates? And I asked this question because I represented one inmate and then started getting lots of letters.
Do you mean ask on a date?
Like, are you single? I've been on your website.
There's a whole TikTok to this. I don't know which jail allows it, but they do these like video things, and they're like, hey, just trying to meet, I'm in here for 9 more months, just trying to meet somebody, have a good time. Like it's a whole TikTok devoted to it. I follow it. It's great.
So I've gotten those letters. Lawyers that work for me have gotten those letters. And I don't do any criminal law, but they seem like they have nothing else to do but search the internet for lawyers.
Oh, Kyle, have you seen your hair? Come on. Like you're so modest.
Thanks, Bill.
God.
Anything like that happen to you?
Oh, yeah.
See? Tell me.
She
about it.
said
Yeah.
she couldn't go to dinner on the island without someone who she's prosecuting.
Serving her. Serving food.
That's got to be the worst part about the job.
Yeah, it's not it's a small pond.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's not fun.
Did you reciprocate with any of them? You're like, look,
Have I been on a date with a...
Hey, we don't judge here, all right? This is a safe place.
like you want to take account of the good lawyers and the bad lawyers. Just because somebody found themselves in a bad situation doesn't mean, look, in this world, if 2 gay lion tamers can find each other.
I think it's just one now.
So Rebecca's,
I think the lion won one.
I think Rebecca's dad, you laid that down at a very
Early age, not to date, and then felons.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Her husband is in law enforcement as well. So
Are you serious? What does he do?
He's a former Galveston Police Department officer.
he sounds terrifying.
Man,
But he's jacked.
I got to tell you,
and I'm
Definitely jacked.
because if anyone is inclined to listen to this, to send her any, don't do this. I'm just saying, like, that's a really good idea, guys.
Well,
Mr. Millo is not Mr. Milo. Officer Milo.
Well, he's not an officer anymore. Although there is an officer, Millo, that is related to him that is with the...
Rebecca's husband is probably not cool with that.
Would the artist formerly known as Officer Milo be willing to pose for the Dirty Verdict calendar?
Yes.
We've got February and October. Just saying.
So no, that doesn't happen anymore. We hope. Your question now, Kyle. We hope you get all kinds of missives from inmates.
I never get that. I feel like I'm approachable.
I'm easy to find.
I'm tall. Maybe I'm too tall.
All right. Well, do you have any more questions about criminal law?
No, that's all of them.
Not about lion tamers.
Tamer, it's only one. I think the other one got eaten.
I'm trying to put the sense of love in perspective these days. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us. You had to drive a long way to get here.
You're welcome. You just got elected.
If you lose this election after this, there's really nothing else.
Why don't we? For anyone that would like to know more about you,
We'll put it on the website.
campaign. What is your email or your website?
It is RebeccaMilo.com. RebeccaMillo.
So Millo is M-I-L, Milo.
It's one L. It's just one L.
It looks like Millo with 2 L's, but it's pronounced Milo.
Correct.
But it's a very easy.
Millo was a shooting guard for the Nuggets.
And the
Call him Millo.
it campaign contributions are allowed.
Syracuse.
What, up until the primary date?
Yes.
Or- Okay, so
You can do
primary-
that on the website too.
Okay, very good. We'll go.
And if you're a lawyer and you want to contribute or go to the fundraiser, I'll make sure that gets linked.
Yeah, we put that in. We talked about that earlier. Is next Wednesday.
Correct.
At Daryl Apfel's office, 104 21st Street. The ice. What is it? Peanut butter.
The cold ice storage peanut butter building.
Yes. Okay, right there, and you can go to Willie G's before or after if you'd like, or any of the fine restaurants in Galveston.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Rebecca.
Thank you.
Clap, clap, clap.
Thanks for joining us this week. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also visit our website at www.dirtyverdict.com. If you are interested in coming on as a guest or have a story idea, please email us at story@dirtyverdict.com.